Level 1. The failed rapper. You are 23. You are on a stage. The second verse is gone. Every bar rehearsed in the car in the shower at 2 a.m. in a warehouse parking lot gone. You are standing at the mic with 10 people watching you forget your own words. 4 seconds. You freestyle something about grinding. 2 people leave. The host takes the mic. His name is MC Marcus. DJ, hype man, a graphic tee with his own face on it. He looks at you, then at the crowd, and says speakers still on somebody get this man a ghostwriter. 8 people laugh. You are not one of them. Marcus performs last. He is not more talented than you. He is just prepared in a way that makes talent beside the point. The girl you brought is quiet the entire drive home. At her apartment she says good night the way people say it when they mean something longer. You open a notes app at 2:17 a.m. and write 16 bars better than anything performed tonight. They are undeniable on paper. The problem is your throat closes around the second verse every time a room is watching. Your mother sends a voice note at 6:14 a.m. She says she's proud of you for getting on the stage. She does not mention the verse. You show the bars to a friend the next day. He reads them and says, "These are fire. Who are they for?" You say, "Me." He looks confused. You make a Fiverr profile that week. Songwriting and lyrics. $15 a verse. What you don't know yet. Marcus's joke is going to become your entire career. Level 2. The freelance lyricist. You are 23 and writing raps for strangers on the internet. The first client needs a birthday rap for his friend Kevin, who loves jet skiing. You write it in 19 minutes. It is genuinely excellent. This is the worst possible sign the skill is real and the stage is a birthday rap for Kevin, and you don't understand that yet. The rate climbs to 30, then 50. A client pays for 1 hook, uses 3, stops responding. By the time the dispute resolves, the hooks are on SoundCloud. You do not make this mistake again. You make a different version of it twice. 3 months after the open mic, MC Marcus drops a project. The third track stops you cold. Same internal rhyme structure as the bars you wrote at 2:17 a.m. Same turn in the second line. Not similar. The same. You DM him. The message sits undelivered for 9 days. On day 10, he posts a studio video caption reading, "The Process." 42,000 views by morning. You close the app. You open it again 3 minutes later. You never find out if he heard your bars or arrived at the same place on his own. What matters is you wrote them and did nothing with them, and he or someone did. The girl from the open mic texts, "I need someone more stable." Not a call, a text. The word stable will follow you for years. A producer named Darius messages you that week. Real credits, a rate card, no small talk. He says he saw the hook. He knows it's yours. He doesn't explain how. He says, "You should be writing for people, not writing as them for $50. You read it 3 times before you respond. Level 3. The studio writer. You are 24. Darius pays $200 flat per session. You find this out after the first one ends. The studio is in a suburb 40 minutes from the city. Keurig, a Grammy on the shelf that belongs to someone who hasn't collected it, and a job description Darius delivers in the first 5 minutes. Be available, write on demand, do not eat the last of anything. The first rapper is 19 years old, 2 million followers, and the attention span of someone who has never waited for anything in his life. He freestyles for 40 minutes, records nothing, says he's more of an energy guy. Then he wants to vibe on it for another 5 hours. You write 3 complete verses during the downtime. He uses 1 line. On the way home you do the math. 14 hours door to door, roughly $14 an hour. You go back anyway. Second session, different artist, he asks you to make a verse sound less book smart. You remove 3 words. He says, "Yeah, that's it." The 3 words were the only original thing in the verse. You take them out and say nothing and open the next page. Third session. Quieter artist, bigger following, the kind of calm that means someone has already decided who they are. He reads what you write and says nothing for nearly 2 minutes. Then, "How'd you know I talk like that?" You don't answer. You just pull up the next page. Darius brings you back 6 more times. You ask once about publishing splits. He says, "We'll get there." You understand what that phrase is protecting, and you are not yet in a position where his answer costs him more than your silence does. MC Marcus appears in Darius's parking lot after session 6. He reads your lanyard, does a slow calculation with his eyes, says, "Oh, you work here now?" He says work the way people say still. His session produces one unfinished idea and an argument about the mix. That same night, the quieter artist presses a phone number into your hand. Says, "My manager." Nothing else. You don't tell Darius. Level 4. The songwriting assistant. You are 25. The manager's name is Terrell. His first question is not about your sound. It is, "Can you write angry but make it sound unbothered?" You say yes. You spend the next 4 hours learning what that means. The artist is Deshaun Carter, 800,000 followers, a clothing line, and the specific energy of someone who has been told he's almost famous for 2 years and has started to believe the timeline is the problem. He is writing about success he hasn't finished performing. Your job is to make that sound true. Terrell gives you a title, songwriting assistant. You make a business card on Canva at midnight. You hand it to one person at a session. He reads it and hands it back like you gave him something personal by accident. You start a blog that month, industry observations. Nothing personal. Your mother reads every post. You attend every session. Fill in lines when Deshaun trails off mid-thought, which is constantly a long hum that means the sentence is still arriving somewhere. You learn to complete his thoughts before the hum ends. This is the most valuable skill in the room, and it does not have a name. Deshaun's lead single drops. Your hook is the chorus. The bridge written at 1 a.m. on a Tuesday while Deshaun slept on the studio couch is what 3 separate blogs call the standout moment of the song. The credits read, Deshaun Carter. You bring this up with Terrell, he says. That's just how it works at this level. You ask when this level becomes a different one, he says. When you bring me something I can sell. You already brought him something he sold. Terrell brings in a second assistant named Priya. Sharp, color-coded notes faster than the job requires. She asks about splits in her first week. You tell her what Terrell told you. She listens, nods, says, that doesn't sound right. She is correct. You knew before she said it. You needed someone who hadn't yet learned to accept it. Deshaun fires you both on a Friday. Group text. He misspells creative differences. You do not correct it. Terrell calls Monday. He says he has someone bigger. He says it like a favor. Level 5. The staff songwriter. The deal is 72 pages and the word recoupable appears 11 times. You have a lawyer now. Priya found him, and by page 18 you understand that the $28,000 advance is money you will need to pay back before you see a dollar of your own. The A&R explains this like he is giving you a gift. It is a gift. It is also a debt. Both are true and only one gets mentioned in the meeting. Your staff deal has a carve-out for uncredited work, a clause your lawyer insisted on that the A&R skimmed past. You do not understand why it matters yet. You tell Darius over the phone. He is quiet for a long time, then says, don't let them own what you write. You don't fully understand the sentence until page 43 of the contract. You have a key card, a converted closet office with a keyboard and a window facing the side of another building. Your quota is 12 commercially viable songs per year. Nobody defines commercially viable until a song is rejected, at which point they define it very precisely and retroactively. You write 41 songs in 6 months. 17 get placed. 1 lands on an album by an artist with 11 million monthly listeners. Your name appears in the liner notes, in a font your mother locates with the flashlight on her phone. She calls you crying. You tell her it's not a big deal. You meet someone that fall. She doesn't ask what you do for the first 3 dates, which is either patience or disinterest, and you like that you can't tell the difference. MC Marcus signs to the same company, bigger floor. His keycard opens yours. Yours does not open his. Nobody acknowledges this. It is simply the geometry of the building, the pitch meeting. 12 songwriters, 1 major project. Your concept is the best one in the room. 4 other people in the room know it. The A&R selects Marcus's the 7th best because Marcus's manager plays golf with the label head. This is mentioned once, neutrally, as context, by someone who immediately moves on. Marcus's single peaks at 31. You track it every Friday for 6 weeks. You play the A&R the 16 bars from the Notes app, the warehouse parking lot, 2:17 a.m., rebuilt and expanded. He listens to the full thing, sets his pen down, says, this is too personal for a placement. Who would this even be for? You take the file and leave without answering. You send it to Terrell that night. He forwards it to 3 people. 2 don't respond. The 3rd replies within the hour. Who wrote this? Terrell sends your name. The reply. Get me in a room with them. You don't tell the A&R. You already know what happens when you tell the A&R. Level 6. The rap ghostwriter. You are 27. The third person's name is Claudette, and her first sentence has nothing to do with music. Nothing we discuss leaves this room. Not ever. Not when you're successful. Not when you're drunk 5 years from now and someone asks the right question at the wrong moment. Not ever. She slides a document across the table. You sign it. The number on it makes you forget what you were about to say. The artist is someone you have listened to alone in your car for your own pleasure, not to study structure. Just because the music was good and you wanted to hear it, you are now going to write his words. This is either the best or the worst thing that has ever happened to your relationship with that music. From this point forward, you will not be able to separate them. First session. He plays a beat, freestyles loosely, then looks at you. The look means, turn that into a song. You do it in 22 minutes. He reads it, adds one word, goes back to his phone. The word is wrong. You say nothing. The song debuts at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. You find out in a parking lot on a Tuesday. You sit in the car for a while. You call your mother. She asks if anything is happening with the music. You say you're still writing. You are writing the biggest song in the country, and your mother thinks you mean the blog. You cannot explain to her, the one who never asked what you did, why you went quiet for 40 seconds in the middle of dinner and said, I can't explain it, and meant it completely. The success is real. It belongs to someone else by contract, and you understood the contract before you signed it. What you did not account for is how large the silence becomes when the number is 6. A ghostwriter you know from sessions tells you over a meal that MC Marcus has a ghostwriter. Neither of you will ever use this information. The ghost economy protects everyone inside it equally, which means it protects no one. Marcus's ghostwriter doesn't stay quiet. 6 months later. A podcast carefully worded, enough. Marcus's team issues a statement using the word collaborative 4 times. The ghostwriter's next placement never comes. You read the statement once and close the tab. Claudette messages Friday. Rate is doubling, effective immediately. Unprompted. You read it twice, trying to understand what she already knows is coming. Level 7. The hit songwriter. Your publishing deal changes while you are not in the room. Claudette speaks to someone at the company, and you are cleared for credited placements alongside the ghost work. The carve-out holds. The A&R presents this to you like it was his idea. You let him. The first credit lands on a track by an artist with 6 million monthly listeners. Top 20. A music blog runs emerging songwriters to watch, and you are number 4. You read it 6 times. The 6th time it still looks like it was written about someone else. MC Marcus is number 7 on the same list. His credit is a co-write on a song where, by professional estimate, he contributed the title and possibly the general shape of the pre-chorus. You know this because you know the writer who built the actual pre-chorus. She is not on the list. You quote $15,000 for an exclusive placement. The confirmation comes back in 4 hours. The quiet artist from Darius's studio text that week. No small talk. Just, told you. You save the message. Priya is managing writers now. 3 on her roster, proper contracts. Splits defined before the first session. She built the version of the job that should have existed when you both started. She sends you client referrals without being asked. She is gone by now, the one who never asked what you did. She left the same way the first one did. Not suddenly, just eventually. You notice the quiet before the conversation. You sign a lease on a space in the arts district. Small, yours. The first thing you buy is a lock for the door. Then the session you fly to, not drive fly. You buy a carry-on with a small keyboard inside. A TSA agent asks what it is. You say, I write songs. No qualification, no follow-up. The first time you have said that sentence to a stranger and left it standing. The session is for an artist whose album will be called the album of the year, but you don't know that yet. You just know the beat is the best you have been in a room with, and the artist is leaning forward the way people lean when something true is arriving. You write the chorus in 1 take. She rewrites 2 words. The 2 words are better. You tell her this. She looks at you for a moment like that doesn't usually happen. 22 million people hear your chord progression at the awards ceremony climax. MC Marcus is at the same studio complex that week. He sees the carry-on, reads the sweet number, runs fast calculations with his eyes. Good session? You say yeah. His session produced 1 unfinished idea. Again. The artist moved to a different writer the following week. Marcus's team calls it a scheduling conflict. The label emails that evening. Subject. Next project, want to connect. You already know what they are going to ask you to give up. You go anyway. Level 8. The Grammy-winning songwriter. You are 29. The nomination arrives as an ordinary email and you are holding a box of cereal. Subject line: Grammy nomination songwriter of record. You read it twice, put the cereal back without thinking, walk to your car, and sit there for a while. Your mother calls before you tell her. She saw it on a blog, she says. I always knew. You think about the voice note she sent the morning after the open mic 6:14 a.m., the one where she said she was proud and did not mention the verse. You say, I know, Mom. You let her have the revision. It cost nothing. MC Marcus is not nominated. His last 2 singles performed steadily 6 weeks each in the top 40, and then the algorithm reorganized itself around whoever was saying yes, the fastest, the way it always does, and Marcus reorganized with it. His A&R now uses the word consistent to describe him. Consistent means reliable, present, and no longer in the conversation about what this year sounded like. When your name is read before the winner is announced, a specific kind of applause comes from the room. Not celebrity applause. Recognition applause, the kind that moves differently through the seats because the room has a relationship with the work even when it has never seen your face. They call your name. The 4 seconds between hearing it and standing feel exactly like the 4 seconds on the open mic stage when the second verse disappeared, the same length of time, the same silence, the opposite of everything else, the speech. The Grammy is for the credited song, the one with your name on it, the one the world can see. But you thank the artist you cannot name, the one whose voice taught you what yours was for, because the NDA is still active and gratitude does not expire with a contract. The room reads this as modesty. You thank Darius. You thank Terrell, who wronged you 3 times and helped you twice, which makes him accurately a mentor. You thank Priya, who is in the room and mouths "Don't you dare" as her name forms in your mouth, and you say it louder. You do not thank MC Marcus. That is the decision you are most proud of tonight, not the award. The silence where his name would have been. Marcus finds you at the after-party, gracious, prepared. Well-deserved, honestly. You say thank you and mean it cleanly, without residue. The competition is over. Both of you feel it. The room between you is different now and has been for a while. The contract renewal arrives 4 days later. You retain publishing on all new work going forward. Not freedom, a better arrangement. You sign it knowing precisely which one it is. A handwritten note comes from the executive. Congratulations on a remarkable run. Addressed to a version of your name, a shortening, a nickname, something corporate that nobody who has ever actually known you has used. You put it in a drawer. You sit in the studio, you own the one with the lock on the door, and open a blank project. 20 minutes pass. You have spent 4 years writing in everyone else's voice. Somewhere in that time, your own became the thing you would need to go looking for. The blank project sits there, cursor blinking, waiting to find out what you sound like when nobody is handing you a reference track and a direction. Level 9. The legendary Ghostwriter. Wednesday. Nothing on the calendar. The first one like this in longer than you can accurately place. You sit in the studio and listen to what the silence sounds like. You have not done this on purpose in years. It is disorienting in the specific way that stillness becomes disorienting when forward motion has been the only identity left. You think about the writers who came up alongside you. One moved into sync licensing television, trailers, library work, and posts about health insurance with the particular relief of someone who found solid ground and decided to stay on it. One burned out publicly, wrote something honest about what the industry extracts, got 200,000 shares, and is somehow fine now. MC Marcus is headlining a regional festival circuit, 12,000 cap rooms, consistent bookings, content posted by a team that is good at their jobs. The algorithm reorganized twice in 3 years, and he reorganized with it each time smaller, steadier, no longer a mirror or a measuring stick, just someone doing the work with what he has. You watch one clip on your phone. What you feel after a moment is respect, clean, with nothing else in it. You open the Notes app, 2:17 a.m. The 16 bars are still there, time-stamped, unchanged. You read them the way you read something written by a younger version of yourself, recognizing the handwriting but not quite the hand. You close the app. You do not use them. They were always evidence, not material. You write something new instead. 3 artists text you the same morning. One of them is the biggest selling rapper working right now. His message. Studio, Thursday, big project. No greeting, no question mark. That is what arrival looks like from the outside. From the inside, it looks like a Thursday, the session. He tells you in the first 10 minutes this is his legacy album. I want it to still matter in 30 years. He says it looking at you the way every artist eventually looks when they have finally stopped performing confidence and decided to ask for the real thing. You work for 3 weeks. You say almost nothing about craft. You ask him, instead, about where he was before any of this, the specific rooms, the version of himself that existed before the infrastructure arrived, and told him what to sound like. The album gets built from that place. Your name will not be on it. His name will carry it for the 30 years he asked for, and you will have built the architecture, and both are true at the same time. You already know how to hold that. The album drops. A review calls it a masterpiece, a return to the unguarded quality of his earliest work. You read this in your car, in a parking lot that is nicer than every lot that came before it. The review describes exactly what you built from the inside. It does not know you exist. That stopped being a wound a long time ago. An email arrives from a name you don't recognize, 23 years old, found you through 3 degrees of separation and 2 active NDAs. They write that they are ghostwriting. Nobody knows. They don't know if it's worth it. They want to understand how you built what you built. Last line. I feel like I'm invisible. You write back 1 paragraph. Invisibility is a skill before it becomes a limitation. The day they decide what they want it to become is the day the actual job starts. You hit send. You open the blank project. The cursor sits there. You have no brief, no reference track, no direction from anyone, and the 16 bars in the Notes app that you chose not to use. You have a Wednesday with nothing on it. You start. That was always the whole job. If this one stayed with you, like and drop a comment with where you're watching from. Subscribe for more.